I'll show you how to get this from this and what to expect along the way. Watch till the end. I started from the frame where I got some pieces of metal put together, welded, painted and brought up in place. Then I ordered the tank and the sump and I tried livestock in a dry environment. Then I sorted some rocks, lots of rocks, some sand, and I started putting everything together. The sump underneath the aquarium is not the greatest idea, I have to say, unless you have no other option. Then the first fill out with normal water, checking for potential leaks, and in the meantime setting up the UV lighting system. No leaks anywhere, so it's time to set up some rocks and lay down the sand. And now let's put the proper water in. I remember at that point I thought I was going to wait just 2 months and my aquarium would look perfect. Fortunately, it took a little bit longer. Got some nice black piano finished panels that contributed to the decision of getting the sump out of there. I got through par measurements, although I don't think I got it right. And then the first proper issue I got was the brown algae. They were actually very nice looking, and I guess it's part of the process. A few times I experienced cyanobacteria, but no major issue. There was a 3 days process to get rid of it. After a year I decided to remove my sump from underneath the aquarium and drop it 1 level down. Also I decided to invest in a calcium reactor instead of dosing pumps. My initial sump I had to sell as it was not big enough. This had been 1 year already and the colorfulness of my aquarium was still not as I wanted to be. My new sump is much bigger than the initial one. I went for ordinary filter stocks instead of roller filters, put some additional media in, prepared a separate refugium tank as well. I got a new calcium reactor, which makes my life and life of my KH so much easier, although I did have 2 issues with it. One, when I lost the whole bottle of CO2 because of a very tiny leak. And the second time where my flow meter failed. I found out probably just in time that my lights are overheating, so I had to install an additional ventilation with assisted air conditioning to maintain the temperature. At the beginning, the water testing I was doing every single day. RODI filtration system was a nightmare. Regardless of the recommendation I was given, only when I built 9-stage system it actually worked for me. For my refugium, I used to use 2 Kessil H380s. However, they both burned out. Right now I'm using just one A360X. I tested my aquarium with a torpedo toy as well. 4 meters of enjoyment with a potential dramatic outcome at the end should I fail to catch it. My next big challenge was a flatworm. These guys killed many of my corals at one point. My main problem with them was the fact I did not see them at all. I had to lose a few hammerheads and frog spans until I finally found flatworms on them. As you can see, they are camouflaged perfectly, and unless they move, you can't really see them. The way I got rid of them was a manual removal from each coral. I was hoping that I managed to get rid of them all, and I was actually lucky I managed to do it. I never had flatworms again. Asterina starfish. First time I saw it, I was so happy that I have a starfish. Then I hated them. I could not believe how much of a parasite they are, and the only way to get rid of them, it was this big boy. Or actually, those 3 big boys, because I got 3 of those. They called harlequin shrimps. I got 3 of them and they cleaned up the entire aquarium within 2 weeks. Unfortunately, they did take my other starfish too. Overall, about 1 year and 10 months, I've been struggling, and I did get to one point considering packing up. Unfortunately, because for some reason I decided to go for a bigger tank, everything costed me a bit more than I anticipated. So I decided I might just let it run to see what happens. It was a good decision because my last 7 months I haven't been doing anything but changing the 10% of water and testing the water just once per 2 weeks. Minor maintenance is obviously necessary, but overall it was absolutely fantastic. The entire tank looks almost exactly as I envisioned it back at the beginning, with the exception that I just had to wait a little bit longer than 2 months. I met many people who said they managed to get their tank to the same state as mine is now within only 6 months. And that is great. However, for those who aren't that lucky, I say just be persistent and it will get there. I am a walking example of it. In my case, it took me about 2 years to settle down, and the last 6 months I've just been watching the growth of my corals. What you can't really see here, I've actually lost some fish. Some of them I never saw again, so I guess they were eaten by the cleanup crew, but some I found dead in the water, and I left them on purpose for the cleanup crew to eat them. I didn't notice my water was affected by it at all. At one point I remember I lost quite a big bird's nest. Till today I don't know what caused it. All of the bird's nest I had on the right hand side of my aquarium have gone within 2 weeks, but the ones on the left were not affected. That was strange. So to summarize, I use standard filter socks which I replaced once per 2 weeks. I have a skimmer, calcium reactor, small carbon reactor, Rovaphos reactor, refugium, and 450 watts of UV lights. I'm producing my own RO water, and since I created my 9-stage RODI system, I noticed a big improvement in my tank. Whether it was a coincidence or not, I don't know, but it works now. Now, all I have to do is to enjoy the view of 2 years of struggle and frustration.